Halalwayah. All praises unto YAHAWAH, power of Yasharahla. Salutations unto my big brother yahawashi. Shalom, Israel. Today we will be talking about the mark of the beast, and if the corona vaccine may or may not be the mark of the beast.
Revelation chapter 13. Then I saw a beast emerge from the sea. It had 7 heads and 10 horns, with a coronet on each of its 10 horns, and its heads were marked with blasphemous titles. I saw that the beast was like a leopard, with paws like a bear and a mouth like a lion. The dragon had handed over to it his power, his own power, and his throne and his worldwide authority. A. Satan, the prince of this world, John 12:31, can give imperial power to anybody he chooses. Luke 4:6. Back to verse 3. I saw that one of its heads seemed to have had a fatal wound, but that this deadly injury had healed. B. Allusion to the empire recovering after some temporary setback, possibly Julius Caesar's assassination or the disturbances after Nero's death. The risen beast is a caricature of the risen Christ. Okay, back to verse 3. I saw that one of its heads seemed to have had a fatal wound, but that this deadly injury had healed. And after that, the whole world had marveled and followed the beast. They prostrated themselves in front of the dragon because he had given the beast his authority. And they prostrated themselves in front of the beast, saying, "Who can compare with the beast?" C. A parody of the name Michael, Revelation 12, verse 7, which means who can compare with Elohim. Back to verse 5. How could anybody defeat him? For 42 months, the beast was allowed to mouth its boast and blasphemies and to do whatever it wanted. And it mouthed its blasphemies against God, against his name, his heavenly tent, and all those who are sheltered there. It was allowed to make war against the saints and conquer them, and given power over every race, people, language, and nation. And all people of the world will worship it. That is, everybody whose name has not been written down since the foundation of the world in the book of life of the sacrificial lamb. If anyone has ears to hear, let him listen. Captivity for those who are destined for captivity. The sword for those who are to die by the sword. D and E. D. He who kills by the sword must die. E. This seems to mean that God's decrees against the persecutors will be carried out inexorably. Their punishment is at hand. Revelation 14, verse 11 and 12, and Matthew 26, verse 52. Back to verse 10. This is why the saints must have constancy and faith.
Context change. The false prophet as the slave of the beast.
Verse 11. Then I saw a second beast. It emerged from the ground. F. This second beast is later called the false prophet. Revelation 16, verse 13, chapter 19, verse 20, and chapter 20, verse 10. Before describing the return of the Son of Man, Revelation 14, 14 through 21, and Revelation 19, verse 11, and Matthew 24, verse 30. John describes the activities of the false messiahs, first beast, and false prophets, second beast, foretold by Christ himself. Matthew 24, verse 24, and 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9. Back to verse 11. It had 2 horns like a lamb, but made a noise like a dragon. This second beast was servant to the first beast, and extended its authority everywhere, making the world and all its people worship the first beast, which had had the fatal wound and had been healed. And it worked great miracles, even to calling down fire from heaven onto the earth while people watched. Through the miracles which it was allowed to do on behalf of the first beast, it was able to win over the people of the world and persuade them to put up a statue in honor of the beast that had been wounded by the sword and still lived. It was allowed to breathe life into this statue, so that the statue of the beast was able to speak, and to have anyone who refused to worship the statue of the beast put to death. G. The second beast mimics the Spirit, who works miracles in the church to encourage faith in Christ. Similarly, the first beast had imitated the risen Messiah, Revelation 13, verse 3. The dragon, the first beast, and the second beast form a caricature of the Trinity. Back to verse 16. And he compelled everyone, small and great, rich and poor, slave and citizen, to be branded on the right hand or on the forehead, and make it illegal for anyone to buy or sell anything unless he had been branded with the name of the beast or with the number of its name. There is need for shrewdness here. If anyone is clever enough, he may interpret the number of the beast. It is the number of a man, the number 666, H. Various 616 in both the Greek and Hebrew. Letters are used for numbers, the value corresponding to the place in the alphabet. By adding up the values of component letters, the total number of a person's name is obtained. Some commentators point out that in Hebrew, the letters of Caesar Nero add up to 666, and that in Greek, the letters of Caesar God add up to 616, the alternative reading.
Things that identify the mark of the beast.
Number 1.
Small and great, rich and poor, slave and citizen will receive the mark.
Number 2.
The mark will be branded on the right hand or forehead.
Number 3.
It will be illegal to buy or sell unless you receive the mark. The number one thing to identify the mark of the beast is that small and great, rich and poor, citizen and slave will have to take the mark. That only means that it will be mandatory.
Medical ethics. Current controversy. Good reasons to vaccinate. Mandatory or payment for risk. Mandatory vaccination, including for COVID-19, can be ethically justified if the threat to public health is grave, the confidence in safety and effectiveness is high, the expected utility of mandatory vaccination is greater than the alternatives, and the penalties or costs for non-compliance are proportionate. I describe an algorithm for justified mandatory vaccination. Penalties or costs could include withholding of benefits.
Like, what benefits are they talking about? Are they talking about housing benefits? Are they talking about food benefits? Are they talking about children's benefits? Are they talking about homeless benefits? There's many benefits that the government is supposed to give to their people for free. So are they saying that they're going to take these benefits away if we don't take the vaccine?
Imposition of fines.
What fines are they talking about? Are they telling us that if we don't take the vaccine, they're going to give us a fine? And then what does that fine entail? Does it entail me paying money or doing community service? Or when I pay money, or if I pay money, will then I be exempt from taking the vaccine because I just paid a fine? Or will they come back to me again and hassle me to take the vaccine even though I just paid a fine?
Provision of community service or loss of freedoms.
What freedoms am I going to lose? Are they talking about me not going to the barbers anymore, to the hairdressers, or going out to a sports game? Or freedoms like staying in my house and not being able to come out none at all? Or freedoms like putting me in prison because I didn't take the vaccine? What freedoms are they talking about? Why are they not being specific?
I argue that under conditions of risk or perceived risk of a novel vaccination, a system of payment for risk in vaccination may be superior. I defend a payment model against various objections, including that it constitutes coercion and undermines solidarity. I argue that payment can be in cash or in kind, and opportunity for altruistic vaccinations can be preserved by offering people who have been vaccinated the opportunity to donate any cash payment back to the health service. This is the future as some experts see it, a world in which you'll need to show you've been inoculated, which means vaccinated, against the novel coronavirus to attend a sports game, get a manicure, go to work, or hop on a train. We're not going to get to the point where the vaccine police break down your door to vaccinate you, says Arthur Kaplan, a bioethicist at New York University School of Medicine.
People, Israel, don't believe that. The other day, a white so-called Caucasian Edomite woman put up on a Facebook post, "Go outside and have fresh air." All of a sudden, police came to her house and put her in handcuffs and arrested her with a 7-month-old belly. And she had a 2-year-old child in the house with her husband. They took all her phones and all their computers. Now, what would you call those police officers? Would you not call them the fresh air police? And how did they know that she was on Facebook posting that? Is Facebook now sending out our information about going outside? Now, have we not seen on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on all of these social media sites of police officers locking people up, going to stores or wherever they're going and taking people out of these establishments for mask or not wearing mask? So what would you call those police officers? Are they not mask police? So are you telling me that they won't give you a vaccine, police, if you don't take the vaccine? See, think about it. That's a lie.
But he and several other health policy experts envision vaccine mandates could be instituted and enforced by local governments or employers, similar to the current vaccine requirements for school-aged children, military personnel, and hospital workers.
See, I told you it's a lie. If they're gonna enforce it, what do you call someone enforcing something on you? And how would someone enforce something on you? Think about it. Continue the video on part 2. Like, share, and subscribe.
Shalom, Israel.
All praises unto YAHAWAH, power of Yasharahla. Salutations unto my big brother, yahawashi. YAHAWAH, power of Israel.